July 27, 1909. The Indian Ocean is a restless black sheet, rolling under a bruised sky. Lightning cracks open the horizon, illuminating, for a fraction of a second, a massive steamship battling the storm, the SS Laurata. Her lights flicker, swallowed by walls of rain and salt spray. Inside, passengers clutch prayer books, rosaries, each other. Somewhere in the dark, a child cries. A steward stumbles through the corridor, water rushing ankle deep. The ship groans, metal straining like an animal in pain. On the bridge, Captain Ilbery grips the wheel, eyes fixed on the angry sea. He's crossed this route dozens of times, but tonight feels different. The compass spins erratically. The ship lists slightly to one side. A voice crackles through the speaking tube from the engine room. Panic barely contained. Boilers holding, but not for long. Another flash of lightning, and the Waratah is gone. No explosion, no SOS, no wreckage. Days later, search ships scour the coast between Durban and Cape Town. They find nothing, not a single body, plank, or lifeboat. It's as if 309 souls were erased from the sea itself. How could a luxury liner, nearly 500 feet long, simply vanish in one of the world's busiest shipping routes? What secrets did the Waratah carry into the deep? To understand that night, we must go back to the beginning of a dream built on pride, ambition, and the promise of empire. The SS Waratah was born in an age of elegance and ambition. The year was 1908, when the British Empire ruled the seas and steamships were floating palaces. Built in Glasgow for the Blue Anchor Line, the Waratah was designed to be the crown jewel of the fleet, a ship to rival the Titanic before the Titanic even existed. Named after Australia's national flower, she embodied beauty and strength. Her decks gleamed with polished oak, her cabin shimmered with velvet and brass. To travelers, she promised luxury and safety, a new era of ocean travel linking Australia and South Africa to the heart of the empire. She feels stiff, one officer remarked, as though she's straining against herself. Captain Ilbery, a veteran of the Indian Ocean, dismissed the fears. He'd sailed these waters his whole career. To him, the Waratah was as safe as any ship afloat. In July 1909, 309 souls boarded her. Families, missionaries, businessmen, dreamers. For many, it was just a voyage home. But as the Waratah left Durban and entered the wild, unpredictable waters of the South African coast, unease began to spread. The ship rolled strangely. The air felt heavy. Something wasn't right, and none aboard knew. They were sailing into history's most haunting mystery. July 26, 1909. The Waratah leaves Durban, bound for Cape Town. A luxury liner gleaming with promise. 309 souls on board. From the docks, people watch her fade into the mist. Her twin funnels pour black smoke into a bruised gray sky. The weather forecast warns of rough seas, but for a ship this size, no one's worried. On board, passengers sip tea, play cards, write letters home. A pianist drifts through a waltz in the saloon, but beneath the calm, something is shifting. The air thickens, the horizon disappears, and the sea begins to rise. By dawn, another ship, the Clan McIntyre, spots the Waratah in the distance. The two vessels run side by side, exchanging signal lights. She looks steady, but moves strangely, her bow slicing deep into each swill, rolling harder than she should. Then, suddenly, she turns east, away from the coast, into open water. No distress call, no signal, just gone. That was the last time anyone saw the Waratah. Hours later, the storm arrives. The sea becomes a wall of chaos. 50-foot waves, wind like a blade, spray like shrapnel. By nightfall, the horizon is empty. Searches yield nothing. Not a plank, not a lifeboat, not a single sign of 309 lives. The Waratah, luxury, pride, ambition, has vanished, as if the ocean itself decided she should never exist. How does a ship of this size disappear without a trace? Tonight, the mystery begins. The disappearance of the Waratah sent shockwaves through the British Empire. A luxury liner, 309 lives, vanished without a trace. Newspapers called it the New Mary Celeste. Families flooded telegraph offices, pleading for word, but the lines stayed silent. The ocean offered nothing. The Blue Anchor Line launched an urgent search. The steamer Titan combed thousands of miles between Durban and Cape Town. Naval ships joined in, scanning for debris, oil, anything that might whisper of the Waratah's fate. They found nothing. Not a lifeboat, not a plank, only endless, indifferent waves. Then came the rumors. A ship seen burning on the horizon. Planks of timber washed ashore, but none of it could be proven. Each clue dissolved into myth as quickly as it appeared. The captain of the Clan McIntyre, one of the last to see her alive, left a chilling remark. She appeared sound, though her movements were strange, as if fighting her own weight. In London, a formal inquiry began. Engineers clashed. Some warned a Waratah was fatally unstable, a top-heavy coffin, one paper called her. Others defended her, pointing to her smooth maiden voyage just months before. Survivors from that first voyage recalled a more troubling image, a ship that rolled violently, even in calm waters. It was as if she were alive, one passenger said, as if she resented the sea. After months of testimony, the inquiry ended with nothing but a single line. The loss of the Waratah remains unexplained. Theories multiplied. Rogue waves, sabotage, mutiny, but for the families waiting at the docks, none of it mattered. Their loved ones were gone, their letters returned unopened, and somewhere between Africa and Australia, the Waratah and 309 souls lay in a grave no one could find. The truth was hiding in plain sight. Decades after the Waratah vanished, engineers studying her blueprints found something chilling. A flaw so simple, yet so fatal, it may have sealed her fate before she ever touched the sea. Her hull was too narrow for her towering height. She was designed to carry both luxury passengers and heavy cargo, coal, lead ore, and wool. On paper, it worked. But at sea, that balance became deadly. A naval architect later put it bluntly. She was top-heavy, stable in calm waters, but once the ocean turned, she became a pendulum with souls inside. The cargo made it worse. On her final voyage, thousands of tons were stacked deep in her hold. If even a fraction shifted mid-storm, it could have been enough to roll her past recovery. One theory paints the final scene. A rogue wave, towering, sudden, merciless, strikes the Waratah broadside. The ship lurches, tilts, and in seconds disappears beneath the sea. No distress call, no survivors, just silence. The flaw wasn't just mechanical, it was human. A product of an era obsessed with ambition, pride, and prestige. Shipbuilders raced to create faster, corners were cut, warnings ignored, and the Waratah, a marvel of luxury, became a monument to overconfidence. Some call it arrogance, others call it fate. Either way, the message is clear. Beauty can hide danger, and even steel has its limits. Over a century later, the ocean still guards her secret. Modern sonar scans, submersibles, and explorers have searched every corner of the wild coast, yet the Waratah remains unseen, buried under shifting sands or swallowed by time itself. Her story endures, not because she was lost, but because she reminds us what it means to challenge nature and lose. The ship that was supposed to be unsinkable became a legend written in silence. Off the wild, jagged coast of South Africa lies one of the most dangerous stretches of ocean on Earth, the Wild Coast. Here, the Indian Ocean plunges into deep underwater canyons. Currents collide, waves twist like living things. Storms rise without warning. If the Waratah sank anywhere, it was here. For decades, explorers have searched these waters, armed with sonar, drones, and magnetometers. They've mapped thousands of wrecks, but the Waratah, she's nowhere. In 1999, a research vessel detected a massive metallic shape matching the dimensions of the Waratah. Hope surged, but hours later, a violent squall forced the mission to abort. When they returned weeks later, the reading was gone, buried, moved, erased by the sea itself. Local fishermen tell stories of strange lights during storms, glowing orbs that dance above the waves, then vanish into darkness. Bioluminescent plankton, perhaps. Or maybe the Waratah, still haunting the waters she never left. The Wild Coast doesn't give up her secrets easily. The deeper you go, the darker it gets. And the ocean, she demands respect. For more than a century, man has tried to solve what the sea refuses to reveal, and each failure only feeds the legend. The Waratah is more than a missing ship. She is a warning, a story of pride, ambition, and the price of defiance. And somewhere, deep beneath the waves, she waits. Steel and sorrow, ghost in history. The Waratah, lost, silent, untouchable, remains one of the greatest maritime enigmas of all time. More than a century has passed since the Waratah vanished, and yet, her shadow still lingers. Every few years, new expeditions set sail. Divers, historians, dreamers, each hoping to be the one to finally find her. But the ocean remains silent, indifferent as ever. For the families of those lost, time has not erased the ache. Their descendants still tell stories of loved ones who vanished without a trace. Fathers, daughters, entire families swallowed whole by the Indian Ocean. No graves, no goodbyes, just silence. In museums and maritime archives, her name rests alongside the Titanic and the Mary Celeste, ships that remind us how fragile human ambition truly is. But the Waratah stands apart because she wasn't just lost, she was erased. Well, every theory, every expedition ends the same way, with more questions than answers. Was it design? Was it nature? Or something deeper, something we'll never understand? Perhaps the Waratah endures because she represents something timeless, our obsession with conquering the unknown. We build, we explore, we dare the impossible. And sometimes the ocean reminds us who's in charge. Today, the waves above her resting place look no different than they did in 1909. Restless, eternal, indifferent. But somewhere beneath them lies a steel tomb, quiet, cold, and undisturbed. The Waratah has become more than a shipwreck. She's a symbol of human pride, of mystery, and of the deep's unbroken silence. Maybe one day we'll find her. Maybe we're not meant to, because some stories aren't meant to end. They're meant to echo beneath the waves, through time itself. The Waratah, a ship swallowed by the sea, a legend born from the silence. But the real mystery isn't over yet. What happened to the train that vanished without a trace? Tap the video on your screen to uncover the truth.